How you doing, YouTube? Matt Massa Beer Reviews back with a little bit of mystery beer in the form of I have no idea. All I know about this beer, it was sent to me by my boy Dan, aka Stout Snob 40 on Instagram. Go check him out. And I think this is going to be a mixed culture jam because it's a green bottle. You rarely see anything else in there. If I can ever get this open, there we go. We'll see what's what. Beautiful pull tabs on this sucker. Now I'm excited. So this is the first beer. I think this might be the third or fourth beer I've done from Dan. All the other ones have been gigantic, huge stouts. So I want to do a mystery beer. I knew this wasn't a gigantic, huge stout. So here we go. Mixed culture all the way. I mean, from the shape of the bottle to the fact that you can see a little bit of the liquid before it poured out. I knew it was going to be something a little bit lighter. So what do we have here? Not much of a head on it, so I assume it might be a little bit more tart, a little bit more acidic than anything else, but it has a soft kind of pale ale look to it, a little bit of particulate kind of floating around in there. All the parts of a Saison sour mixed culture style beer. Let's get a nose. Not all that acidic. There's a soft acidity to it, a definite tartness. It smells kind of core 4, kind of mixed culture ale. And by that I mean I don't think, at least on the nose, I'm not getting much as far as any kind of fruit addition or anything like that. I'm getting a little bit of soft vanilla tones because you talk me into a foeder or some kind of barrel aging. But right now it has this nice, brisk, light kind of acidic tartness to it. The fruit definitely leans into kind of a grapefruit juiciness with a little bit of pear kind of vibes floating around in it. And it just smells like something that is going to be a little bit cheek pulling, but not overly sour, which is kind of my wheelhouse when it comes to these kind of mixed culture, kind of farmhouse style beers. But yeah, it smells beautiful. Pretty beer, mind you. Let's dive in. Cheers. Okay. There's so much oak tannin in this. It's crazy. It's like literally hit my lips, hit my tongue, and it just like sucked all the moisture out of my mouth. It does have that cheek pulling element to it. So there is a big tartness to it. There is an acidity to it. It is sour, but it's not over the top. But man, when I sit on the nose, I'm getting a little bit of soft vanilla in here. That kind of translates to the taste. But that dryness, that oak tanninness, that shoots through the roof and becomes a super drying, super cheek-pulling tartness in a very fun way, mind you. I'm not kind of complaining about this. It was just kind of a surprise going into it. This is heartburn beer for me. I am on a proper medication that actually pretty much eliminated all heartburn in me, which is actually pretty awesome because I have my family has what's called Barrett's syndrome, Barrett's esophagus, and it's kind of can be a precursor to some cancerous stuff. So I've been taking this new medicine, and it's awesome. But this one's kind of testing that right now. It's kind of flirting with that, wanting to give me the heartburn, but I'm not going to get there. But I could tell if I wasn't on that medication, I'd be like doubled over right now with the heartburn that I have. I almost want to go wine barrel on this. Not that I'm getting I'm getting a vinousness from it. Listen, it's a mixed cultural farmhouse ale with a big wood component that's tart. So, I mean, we're taking a lot of boxes that can actually get into that kind of wine barrel territory. But it had to spend time in fresh wood, like uber fresh wood, to get this level of oakiness. It's almost like I could see this being a wine barrel aged beer, but before it went into a wine barrel, it actually sat in a brand new foeder, like conditioned the foeder for the first kind of get go, and then racked into a wine barrel. Because you just can't get this level of wood without some kind of fresh. It's oak. It's not French vanilla oak, but it's just like a base oak. That's why I think it's a foeder. Probably. I want to go a little bit higher than my knee-jerk reaction was like mid-5, so I think this is like 6.3. So I'm going to call this a 6.3% mixed culture beer. It touched a wine barrel, but before that, it spent some time in a brand new oak foeder. I think this is relatively fresh. I think it's got about a year on it, maybe a little bit less. Let's go 6 months to a year on it. And I don't have no idea who made this, but I like it. It's rather aggressive. It kind of aggresses itself out of being a pretty beer because of how hair on fire that oak is in it. But it's tasty. It's one of the more impactful kind of mixed culture beers I've had as of late. And while that's not necessarily kind of something I would normally kind of hang my hat on as a positive for a mixed culture beer, yeah, I think this one does a pretty good job of it. So it's playing that fun trick. It's getting an aggressiveness, but at the same time being a nice kind of funky beer with a nice tartness. But man, I'd like to see this with about a year on it and let that oak tannin kind of settle down a little bit. And I think it kind of comes into its own, lets that beer kind of open up a little bit, become a little bit more bolder, a little bit more richer for its own good. So yeah, what did I say? 6.2%, mixed culture beer, sat in a filter, but then it touched, I'm going to say it touched a wine barrel. I'm probably wrong on that one, but that's what we're going to say. So we got these awesome pull tabs. Pull tabs heal the world, mind you. And let's see what this sucker has. Who is this? Okay, Side Project. Kind of makes sense here because they definitely lean heavily into the kind of acidic thing. This is Side Project. This is Cellar Creeper, brewed and blended in St. Louis. It's 7, so it's higher than everybody thought it would be. And let's see, it's a barrel fermented wild ale with mangoes, a collaboration with Tired Hands. So it's a collab with Tired Hands. So I was taking that vinous characteristic. That was the mango. There was a fruit something in there that, while in a nose, I didn't think there was an addition to it. I eventually got something. That's why I kind of leaned into kind of the wine barrel. The mango thing kind of makes sense. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm tasting mangoes, but there was something fruit there, and I just leaned into a white grape is basically what I leaned into. They talked about this barrel fermented wild ale. Yeah, this has to be a brand new photo. It has to be. The amount of oak tannin in this is absolutely bonkers crazy in a very fun way. I like this quite a bit. Side Project, they need no introduction. They make some of the better kind of wild ales. They probably get a little bit too acidic for me. This is probably one of the more mild ones. Maybe that's a little bit of Tired Hands kind of hand in this kind of brew because I know Tired Hands in their sour wild mixed firm program tends to be a little bit more tart rather than acidic, so maybe they're kind of balancing between those two. So I said 6 and change, low 6 and change. It's 7, so it was, a bit, 0.7% off, 0.8% off as far as ABV goes. And I think I pretty much nailed the beer. The only big thing here is that you have to replace the mango with a white grape. That's a big stretch. But again, it's a fruit characteristic that I don't think rears its head. I wouldn't tell you right now this is a big mango component. I just know it's a fruit component because the tartness is big enough. And then with how dry and oak tannin this is forward, it's really hard to kind of parse out exactly what's in the beer. But I'm probably wrong. It's a little bit more tropical fruity than what I thought it was. But I think this is delicious. Like I said, one of the more aggressive kind of tart funky beers, but really tasty stuff. So thank you very much, Dan, for sending this off. Very fun mystery beer, mind you. Very cool stuff. All mystery beers are fun, but these ones that are really kind of complex and multiple layered are just a blast to do. Is it one of the better wild ales that I've had as of late? Yes. Is it Mount Rushmore status? Probably deserving of that. The only thing keeping it from it was the level of oak tannin in this, but again, the beer's big enough to hold up against that. So if that was a little bit smaller, I think it would be a shoe-in. Value availability, I'm guessing this is probably... Actually, you know what? I think Side Project bottles are pretty relatively decently priced from my experience. And what I've got from them, and I purchased a couple beers off my boy out there in Chicagoland, Missouri land. God damn, I forget fucking where they're located. Yeah, Missouri. Jesus, I'm worse with stuff like that. I think these bottles go for around $16 or whatever, which isn't too bad. It's 500 milliliter. And leave you with, if you like what, will you like this beer? I mean, if you like Side Project, if you like funky beers, tart beers, if you like oak tannin, you'll like this beer. I mean, it's Side Project. It's fantastic beer. So if you like these kind of beers, green bottle beers, in an aggressive way, you'll like this. So there you go. Review in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Down there if you want to talk about it. Massive Beers. If you want to check me out doing the social media stuff, Beer Massif. If you want to check me out doing the whole podcasting thing, hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully you're enjoying a little bit of mystery beer right now. Hope to see you next time. Cheers.